welcome, and I want to introduce you to the Maya Forest Garden and the Maya Forest Gardeners in a moment.
Sustainable practice of forest gardening.
Hello, I'm Jane Goodall. I've spent much of my life trying.
So I want to ask Felicita, who is a shaman. She's a woman who is spiritually called to be a shaman, and it's in Mayan, shaman is actually a word for the people who are spiritual leaders, and Ish is woman. So I want to introduce Felicita, who will help us inaugurate the panel.
Malop chinil kinti tulakalesh. Good evening. At this moment, a very special ceremony is going to take place. I, as a Maya shaman, Ish shaman, am going to honor, along with you, we're going to honor the 4 corners of the earth. Plus, at each corner, we will invoke one of the elements. At the blow of the shell, the first shell, everybody turns to the east. So that means that you will need to stand. And then the second blow, everybody turns, faces the north. The third.
Should we do that now?
You face the east.
No, this is west. West here, east. So we go. You said east
But
first.
they told me this is east.
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 And this is west.
No, but then
East.
we are going to make a circle.
Okay.
So we are going this
East,
way,
north,
this
west,
way,
south.
this way.
Okay. Perfect. You're on
Okay,
it.
Anabel, I think this was set wrong. The black should be there.
Okay, let's move it. This is west. Okay.
In the Maya cosmology, each direction
This is black.
goes with a color. So the west is symbolized by the color black. So if you notice, I am moving this and I am putting in the south, it will be, what color is this?
Yellow.
Yellow. So, and this one you have to be very careful with it because it has a lot of thorns, and this teaches us that life has its difficult moments. Whenever.
We like that.
Yes. So everything is beautiful, but we have moments when we have our ups and downs. So this is what is done. See?
Oh, that's the up and down. Huh?
Okay.
So the black goes. Does this go and come here?
After I blow the shell, you hold it for me, okay?
Where do I hold it? I hold this one. So this where does go?
The water?
The water needs to go
Yeah,
here.
needs to go there. What I remember.
You're doing the right thing. Maya princess.
Yeah, I know.
Everybody faces the east. Aksutikba, Tubehil, Lakin. O no chak balami lakin. Aksutikakpaka, tushkulik ila tumbeng inog, tushkutale sasilo. Tulakal bash, kuchurwayo kolkabe, utalok Tubehil lakin. O no chak balamilat in katik kat aigton asasilil. Men tu hulet tumbenk ina vigila kustal, sihbal titech. O great spirit of the east, powerful energy of fire, we turn our eyes to the direction of the rising sun, where the first light of the day appears. May we know that each new day is an opportunity to grow in all that we do. We face the north.
Face the north.
Aksutik ba? Aksutik ak bakat di shaman. Ono sak balami shaman. Aksutik ak bakat tushkutale ikob. Sis ikob. Malob ikob. Kamkach ikob. Ato nakmuk. Uti alak pahtal bisik tulakal baas talam ichilak kustal. Yeter kimak olal. O great spirit of the north, powerful energy of air, give us the strength to bear all what is cold, harsh, and uncertain in life. Aksutik ba? To behil chicken. Aksutikak pakat. Tusko chinilk in. Utialulikil tukaten sansa male. Ono ek balamichik in. Inkatik-tech. Aksut yetel botik. Yetel kimak olal. Tumengkuyan taluhel balo. O great spirit of the west, powerful energy of the earth. We come to you in thanksgiving for changes in our lives. Come on, Anabel. We face the south. Aksutik ba? Tubehil nohol. Onok ang balami nohol. Aksutik ak pakat. Tushkutal tulakal baas. Inal. Leken hachkana noon. Yeter keelon. Saton inal utsmako. O great spirit of the south, powerful energy of water. Whenever we're cold, whenever we're thirsty, whenever we are tired, give us the warmth of good people. We turn to face the heavens. Even though I am saying my prayers, you can also say your own prayers if you want, loud or within yourselves. Aksutikak pakat tekaanalo, tusya nileesh, tatag in, nohochchich u, shkik eko, aton aksasilil. Ti alakpahtal men tulakal bash kabet wayokol kabe. Ti alakpahtal mentik yetel kimak olal. O heart of the heavens, Grandfather Sun, Grandmother Moon, give us your light of our lives, so that we can do all what we are on this planet to do, and do it according to your will. Mother Earth, if you can kneel. Aksutik ba? Di na luum. Ek luum. Maalob luum. Ikatik Katulakal mash bak mashob yanilo waye. Upahtalo maalob talo kushtalo. Ubetikop tulakal bash kabet utial na'lu. Mother Earth, you love us like a mother loves her children, no matter how good or how bad we are, no matter how we treat you. Ask for forgiveness because of the way we're treating you, polluting the waters, polluting the land, polluting the air. Help each and every one present here to be conscious of what we're doing to you, because what we do to you, we do it to ourselves. We turn within ourselves. May we be conscious that each one of us is here for a purpose. May we be conscious to live in love, in light, in peace, in harmony with our fellow brothers and sisters, with our fellow plants, fellow animals, because each one is a link, and we cannot live without each other. Upuksikal kaan, upuksikal ik, upuksikal kak, upuksikal ha, upuksikal na'lum. Thank you so much. You should not take it out. No, this side. No, wait.
Okay, I want to invite the rest of the panel. You want to sit down here? Felicita, you can sit here. Sit down. I want to to invite Cynthia, Ellis Topsey, and Narcisco Torres. Where is he? Gonna telling you other jokes, huh? Be careful with this.
Whoa, you're a fancy walker.
One of the things I wanted to address is just the same thing that you just said.
Do you want to use the microphone?
Oh, yeah, we have to use that, okay.
And if you use the microphone, have it close to your mouth.
Okay, let's see. I want to introduce Felicita, who you have just met, and get her spirit. Cynthia Ellis Topsey, Ambassador at Large of the Garifuna Nation, and the Master Forest Gardener, Narciso Torres. I might mention that Felicita is also a forest gardener. And what I wanted to look at today is the philosophy of cultivating nature. When I started my archaeology some 45, 50 years ago, I had in mind that the Maya disappeared, that the slash and burn was very bad for the environment, and that the Maya destroyed the environment. That was the way people looked at it. However, when I spent time with people there, I found that they had a very precious view to the land, and that their homes and their fields were part of a life that was much more complicated. It wasn't slash and burn, it was select and grow. It was a kind of life that people managed both perennial trees as well as annual crops in a way that was very distinct and very much in honoring that world. And maybe, would you like to say something about that?
Yes, first of all, I'd like to thank you for the privilege and the honor for our being here. And I want to give thanks to the other members of the delegation from Belize. Could you please stand? Vanessa Neal, Mrs. Roberts. Okay, thank you so much. These are educators, the principal of a high school in Belize who has contributed, they have contributed extensively to the research and the work of El Pilar. And for you to make the effort to be here is very much appreciated. I also want to recognize anyone who has been to Belize, please raise your hand. Wonderful. Thank you so much. It means a lot to us that you care about our country, that you love our people, that you are doing research that contributes to the future of humanity. I want to give thanks to those of our ancestors who are not here, on whose shoulders that we stand, those people, those sheroes and heroes that were available to Dr. Anabel Ford in her research. And many of them, without many of them over the 40 years of her work, this work would not have been possible. I want to give thanks to all of you who are in this room, because, and let me not forget Mr. Sherman. Please stand up, Sherman. Please give him a round of applause. He is our able assistant for Dr. Anabel. And last but not least, I want to give a big round of applause for Dr. Anabel Ford. I want to give thanks, specifically Natasha, who also contributed to this research. Please stand, Natasha. All right? And Mike, please stand up. Yes. Yes. Because this is a celebration of this work. Anybody else? You know, please claim yourself. Don't be ashamed. We are family in this room. It is a privilege. Yes, Dr. Ford.
Deanna.
Deanna, please give her a round of applause. An educator. So the idea is that in celebration of Dr. Narciso Torres, we are also celebrating ourselves. And therefore, I want to give thanks. This will be recorded to my daughter-in-law, Lisani, who supported Natasha in her research. And we are claiming in advance future researchers through you educators of Belize. All right? So this is a very historic and important time for us. I want to remember my husband, Harriet Topsey, who was one of the promoters of this initiative and this project. And it was because of his memory I went in search of Dr. Anabel Ford, because her name was in our home. He died 27 years ago, and he was one of the pioneers of many initiatives in Belize. For example, the first museum in the country. My children, I'm a mother of 5 children and 17 grandchildren and counting. So I went in search of Dr. Anabel Ford because I wanted to know the significance of the work of my husband, Harriet Topsey. I want to give thanks to Godsman Ellis, my father, who was also instrumental in mapping out, right, Anabel? The frame or the site of our El Pilar. So there are many people, we saw them on the video just now. The Prime Minister of Belize, Said Musa at that time. So we have a challenge in this year 2023 to change the narrative. I want to give thanks to all of you who recognize citizen scientists, Narcisco Torres, who is an inspiration for all of us. And there are many who came before him and who are around him who are not here today. They are not able to come to take this journey. So what is this journey about? This journey is about 2 women walking the same path from 2 cultural experiences. I am Garifuna, and Garifuna is another story. But Garifuna, like other ethnic groups in Belize, are forest gardeners as well. We are inspired by the Maya. So our goal, our intention is to make this part of the curriculum for schools, to make it a way of life, so that even though a gardener did not go to a university, did not go to high school, he's celebrated and acclaimed in one of the greatest institutions in this here country of the United States of America. Give him a round of applause. So we are family. This humble man gave up himself, gave up his life, gave up his family, gave up his time for 40 years. How do we say that in Maya? How many cartoons? 2. Yes, sir? So, it is a privilege and an honor that our people are open in sharing who we are and what we have. And we are thanking you for being able to receive that. Because the way how the world is these days, this man, this young lady here, and myself, we are forest gardeners. Everybody in Belize is a forest gardener, but we might not know it. We respect and honor the plants and nature. As a baby, I almost died, and it was my mother, who is 92 years young, who had a vision of a plant that would heal me so that I could be here today to speak with you and to share with you. My mother has no degree, but she has a degree of life. And Anabel always laughs as she wears her slinky dresses and moving sprightly around. My mother has the knowledge of the plants as if they are human beings. They are living entities. She talks to her plants. She sings to her plants. Vanessa's mother, all our mothers, our grandmothers are forest gardeners. We would like to challenge you to take this far and wide, that this becomes a curriculum for all schools and universities around the world, that we do not have to struggle to convince anyone that the knowledge and the practice of indigenous people, I am indigenous, the Garifuna people are indigenous as well, and we took care of each other because the Garifuna people nurtured villages around the country. That's why I was born in a Maya community called August Pine Ridge, Orange Walk, and I was delivered by a Maya midwife. So the beauty of who we are in Belize is that we are inclusive. We embrace everyone. And we have hosted, with the support of people by Dr. Ford, like Dr. Ford, hundreds hundreds of researchers and students from around the world. We are asking for a radical paradigm shift so that in your halls of institutional learning, Dr. Narcisco, Torres, and others like him, their names will be on your books as authors that are authentic and genuine and pure, and that people like him, people like us, will be on your halls of fame, because we have started to do that in Belize. In closing, at least for now, I want to bring greetings to you from the people and the government of Belize. Ambassador Alpuche sends his love. Jose Alpuche sent his greetings and love. Minister Zabani, our Minister of Education for Belize, sends his thanks and his greetings and his love. The Honorable Orlando Habet, Minister of Sustainable Development, sends his greetings and his love. And that is just to name a few of the people who are thankful to the point of tears that finally our indigenous people are being acclaimed and recognized in the world. Thank you.
Well, I don't know if follow that. Following that, I think that we give Narciso a chance to say a few things. He's much more humble in how he will express himself, but he should be more like Cynthia.
Passionate and humble.
It's good evening or good afternoon, I don't know right now. I lost the time. I'm so happy to be here and to see people that are interested in what I've been doing for a lifetime. My wish is to see the future generation take over to make it a better place for all. I want to see more fruit trees in our planet so that nobody say, well, I'm hungry. If people say, well, if there's so much, nobody will go hungry, because we don't need a pot, we don't need a script, we need fruits that will keep us healthy. Because cooked food and food that are not fresh or not organic are not doing well to our system, our system or our body. So we need to have more fresh food, more fruits in our diet to have a better life. Many of the fruits contain medicine, but sometimes we are not aware of them, and we are missing so much of them. So the more variety of food that we have, we will get the substance or the medicine that it contains that will make us more healthier or feeling better or living a better life. Because I really don't like when people say my knee is hurting, I got arthritis, I got this, but because there's many plants that are against that, but we are not aware of them. And the other thing that I see is there are voluntary plants that are very valuable or good for our livelihood, and we or the people that don't know will just get rid of them, and then give it a chance or a break to grow, and to find out if it's a beneficial plant. I really want to see more gardens around the world that produce more food. I mean, ornamental plants are pretty, but they don't fill our stomach. I
You
hope.
also want to take care of animals too?
Yeah, well, right now I planted three crops that went just like nothing because animals will got it all. So right now I went on the fourth time planting. Now I'm getting a little bit because animals already had their own. So now they give me a little bit for myself. But I don't really care if they eat because they are part of our ecosystem and they are hungry just like us. And the problem in Belize, because people are destroying the forest, where the animals or other living things, creatures live, and they are left without food, and people are just planting certain crops that animals don't like it, and what I do is I plant a variety of plants, different varieties, and in a sense I lose in some ways, but in other ways I win because I don't have only one species. So I always lose and I always win. I'm very concerned of the other living creatures. Even sometimes you say this is a bad insect, but bad insects are eaten by the good insect or something like that, because life is a cycle. So everyone needs one another.
That's right.
And that's the way I see life. So I encourage people to be more aware of how we live in this earth, to treat ourselves and other living creatures the way we want to be treated too. Thank you.
Testing. One something that we must always remember. The part of our spirituality. And being a spiritual person does not mean going to church every day. It does not mean belonging to a church. Religion and spiritual are different things. We can belong to a church and not be spiritual. You can stay home, not attend church, but be a spiritual person. If we are spiritual, we will love, we will respect one another and respect this beautiful Mother Earth that we have been given. So, let us not forget our spirituality. Let us be spiritual and everything will fall in place. Thank you so much.
Maybe we can hear from, are there any questions or thoughts? Yes?
Should I talk into the mic? Or?
Yeah.
I guess so. I will come and get you.
For Narciso, I heard in the east coast of the United States they had hazelnut trees, I think, and the Native Americans there would clear around them so to kind of make an orchard out of the forest. Is that a similar practice that you use in your forest?
Yes, more or less it's the same, because we sometimes we need more plants, but if we don't let them to mature and produce seeds, we will have less. Instead of having more, we'll have less. So by clearing around, the seeds that will drop, they might make a next tree, and sometimes the birds or other animals will spread the seeds around. And so you don't have to do, once you have a tree that's producing seed, you'll see more trees coming around. It's an easy job.
I just wanted to thank you for that question and to say that we have been privileged to have some visitors from Omaha, Nebraska. They are part of the delegation, not here right now. However, they were so excited about the work we are doing in Belize and Dr. Anabel's research that they came and visited us in Belize and invited us to Omaha, Nebraska, where we had a powerful experience to explore these kinds of initiatives. And I wanted to present some of the other forest gardeners, like who asked the recommendation. Alfonso Sul, who is a genius, like many others, who will say that the plants recommend themselves. So
You have
that's
to either take the recommendation or not.
Right. So one
But
day,
you have to listen.
Narciso and I went to El Pilar, and he said to me, look, stop. I said, what? He said, there's so many of them here. I said, what? So many what? He said, cedar seedlings. And he and I collected almost 700 seedlings that day. So that's, very powerful that everything is around us.
One of the things as an archaeologist, I read that the economic botanist said that the Maya forest was filled with many useful trees. Cedar is a tree that we cut for lumber. Mahogany. Chico Zapote, which has the gum, if anyone chews gum, the original gum, Wrigley's, was chiclets, which was named after the Chico Zapote, the chicle tree. Allspice, mamey, avocado, we might know something about those here. All these trees are native to the Maya forest. Chocolate and vanilla, cacao and vanilla.
Could you speak to the ceiba tree?
Ceiba tree, the ceiba tree. Well, the ceiba tree is considered a more, maybe someone else could speak to that. You want to speak to
The ceiba tree is the sacred tree for the Mayas. It is believed that it connects us to the levels. It connects us to heaven and it connects us to Xibalba. And going to the heavens, it is 13 layers. To Xibalba, it's 9 layers. So it's easier for us to go down than to go up. So they are very, very, very huge trees. In my community, we have one that maybe 5 of us hold our hands, and we won't be able to cover the trunk. And people say that the Ishtabai would live in the trunks of the ceiba tree. We have a folklore, but the ceiba tree is considered a sacred tree of the Mayas.
I wanted to mention, though, that of these trees that we're talking about in the Maya forest, 20 trees are dominant. Those 20 trees, when you're in the well-drained uplands, occupy maybe 70 or 80% of that area. So any hectare or acre or how you would think of it, those 20 trees are expected there. And it's very, I don't want to say homogeneous because it's biodiverse, but those are occupying, and all of those are useful. And when we go into the forest together to map at El Pilar, we count whether those are there or not. And more often than not, at least 15 of them are notable, and including Chico Zapote and mahogany, wild mamey, my favorite, most difficult one, Zapotillo, hoja fina, and a number of palms as well. And it's really noteworthy when we think of how you need to use and how you use the supermarket. It is the market, the pharmacy, everything. So when I talk to people who 50, 80 years ago were growing up, living on the land, and were building, eating, managing their household, all of the things were within, they say half hour, not even an hour walk. An hour walk would be 4 kilometers. They would say half-hour walk when we were talking about building. And so everything, and that is where you manage. You have the milpa, which is the annual crops that may last 4 years. It's said, oh, they abandoned the milpa because it's not fertile or because too many weeds. But they may be recommending themselves because what's happening is those are left to grow into the secondary and then mature forest. And in the secondary forest, they are selecting. So it's not all those 20 dominant plants that end up at El Pilar are a process that was happening on the whole landscape. And while I'm looking at it practically, and these people here are looking at it in the spiritual way, they converge in the fact that we really want to see our landscape appreciated and treated well. Have another question? I'll ask questions.
Yeah. Hi. I am hearing that you are guided by spirit of the land, spirit from the heavens, and I was wondering if working in the forest and working at El Pilar, do you feel the spirits of people and your ancestors guiding you?
Oh my gosh, he has stories to tell you. I didn't know someone would ask that. We have arguments about whether it's his grandfather.
Yes.
Okay. The simple answer.
Whenever I'm walking in the forest, I almost could see shadows behind me sometimes. I know that these are spirits, but I don't worry about it because we are doing something to recognize them, so they don't bother us, in no ways, because we have had good luck, I would say, because in the forest you don't know what you will encounter, because sometimes we get to certain areas that the debris is very thick, and you will walk over it, and what's underneath you don't know. So we are surviving by the grace of the great spirit.
What about when we get to a site? What happens, and how?
So whenever I'm walking with archaeologists like Dr. Anabel Ford or others, sometimes we get into a little debate about if this little hill was a house or. But I take a keen look, and suddenly I could see a piece of pottery or a piece of sword there appearing, and I know that was part of a household item, and I always will do that, and because I feel I'm guided by the spirit for real.
Can I comment?
Sure.
From the Garifuna perspective, let me just say briefly, if you don't know about Garifuna, we are people who were never enslaved, and we are a bridge to humanity. because we connect with peoples all over the world, and we are indigenous. We came to the Americas as traders from Africa. But anyway, the focus I want to say that the first archaeological commissioner for Belize, Dr. Joseph Palacio, a scholar, is Garifuna. The thing about being Garifuna is that we bridge with the Maya. And although Sister Felicita said religion, spirituality, one of the things about religion, which we must not take literally, is that the Garifuna were seen as people who we have the competency to deal with all people from all races and cultures. And so for us, in terms of spirituality, we honor spirituality of everyone. It comes from the sense of self. Last night a question was being asked at the panel about healing, and my response to the question was that we need each other in the healing process. So this conversation here is a healing conversation because we have a heart for humanity. And that is the reason why El Pilar is a focal point for peace and for reconciliation. And we want to learn from you. We had the privilege to go to the farmers in Omaha, Nebraska. And even before we were told, we knew that we were on the trail of tears. And the three of us fell to the ground in honoring that spirit before we were even told that it was the trail of tears. Wow. Dr. Torres and I have been to Guatemala, where we have been to museum, places where we saw our sacred sites have been desecrated. So we are thankful that you are listening to the cry of the indigenous people, where we want to claim back that honor and that respect of who we are, along with our brothers and sisters from here in the United States, that is the Native Americans and the indigenous people.
I also want to share on behalf of my culture. I am Maya. And your question was something about spirits. Now, I work with children, I work with youths, and I work with women. With the women, we do jewelry. I had a lot, but I had to remove it because of the ceremony. We use materials from the environment, mostly seeds. We use the I don't know if you would know the Guanacaste tree, big trees. We use the flamboyant seeds. Okay, we use them to make jewelry. And we also use a big seed, about this big, called the ojo de venado, the deer eye. It's as big as your eye, bigger than your eye. So, we used to have a lot in our area. I remember when we were going to school, the bad boys used to take them in school and rub it on the cement and tag it on our arms, and it would burn you. But because of I live in the north, where everybody is a cane farmer. So being a cane farmer, they have to cut down all the trees to plant the cane, fix it up good so that the trucks and the tractors can go inside. Okay, now the ojo de venado became extinguished. No ojo de venado in my area. But I want that for the ladies to do their jewelry. So I traveled about 25 miles from my community to find these ojo de venado. Every year during the Easter holidays, I go along with my friend who knows the forest and my husband, and I get lots of ojo de venado, and the ladies work on their jewelry. So one year, I went to this place. Lo and behold, when I reached there, all the land has been cleared. I cried. I cry easily. I cry for nothing. So, but my friend says, don't worry, I know another place, we can go. And there we will find. So we went there, we are looking, it's a vine. So we're looking and looking and looking and nothing. And then I remembered, Felicita, you did something wrong. You came into this forest and you did not ask permission. Because we believe in the guardians of the forest. We cannot see them, but we know that they are there. So I said, ¿Qué te pasa? How are you going to come into this area without asking permission? So I stayed behind, looking down. I allowed my husband and my friend to walk about 20 yards to the front. And I spoke to the spirit. I said, I prefer to speak in Spanish to the spirits. Y les dije, ay, perdónenme, forgive me, I'm sorry. I know I did wrong because I just came in here and I did not ask for permission. I'm sorry. But you know, I came here looking for an hoja de venado. And can you please allow me to find at least one seed? And then I noticed, oh, I don't see my husband and my friend again. So, and we are in the forest, you know. So I hurriedly picked up my bag that I had set on the floor. And when I picked up my bag, lo and behold, one ojo de venado was underneath my bag. And it wasn't there when because I was sad and I was looking down. And I said, so, I believe in the spirits. I believe in the spirits of the forest, the guardians of the forest. So if at any time you go to the forest, don't just rush in there. Ask for permission, because we have the guardians there. Thank you so much.
I was wondering if you would want to plant that.
Oh,
Because that one,
out of the one ojo de venado that I found, I was so happy. I went home, and it has a thick skin. So to help it, I rubbed it on rough sandpaper, and I put it on the soil, and it grew and it grew and it grew, and the vine is this thick. And I harvested a lot. And I give it away. I tell the children, this is how you will do it. We prepare it for them, and then they take it home, and then they plant it. So if you go to my village, I wanted to bring some. Really, I wanted to bring some because I have a lot. But I won't be allowed by Baja, Belize authorities. I don't know, but it's health. I won't be allowed to bring seeds. So if you want one, you have to go visit me, and you will get a seed. And the children are planting it, so we have brought it back again to the community. So it does not have to be in the forest. They are planting it in their yard.
and that's the forest garden. Another inquiry?
Thank you. I just had a question about your favorite, if you could share your favorite plant that you either just cultivate or grow, and a little bit about it.
Get me on favorite plants, they never can. Do you have a favorite plant? We know her favorite plant. All of them.
I will say I'm sorry, but all the plants are my favorite.
That's right.
But the most important one are the edibles one that will give you something to fill this empty space sometimes. There is one plant that I think is very, we call it the plant of many uses. This is the cohoon. And cohoon, you can make your house from the leaves. You could have the oil from the nuts. You could have the heart. But if you ever eat the heart of the cohoon, that's the end of the tree. So the best thing is to plant more, so you have extras, you know. Also, when a cohoon tree is not mature, haven't started to bear no fruit. If I have enough, I poke it, and then a certain bugs come and little larvae in there that are so nice, so are edible.
They're like
shrimps.
Yeah.
They have the same taste of shrimp, and they have a lot of protein.
And eats it raw in the forest.
It
does.
Yes, when I do have those things in my body, I can't rest because my energy is too much. I have to be doing something, working. But this larvae are also medicinal.
Yeah.
Are also medicinal for against arthritis and rheumatism. So that makes your body more flexible, and sometimes you might, if you eat too much, you might change your skin. Yes, it's well, I experiment that, so I do live by experimenting, and
that's the science.
Yes, and well, whenever or wherever you, if I am here or there, if you want to have a sample, you have to come to Belize.
That's right. Surprisingly, my favorite, I have several, is sage. And my joy of coming here was to discover the different varieties of sage that you have. And I got this as a favorite when suddenly I was smelling sage in my room, in my bedroom, and there was no sage around. And I looked under my pillow, I looked around, no sage. Then I went to my mother and I said, Mom, I've been smelling sage the whole time. And my mother said, well, that is the plant for our family. Your grandmother used to use it to eat, for food, to bathe, and all kinds of things. So I love being here because there's a lot of sage. But I just, give me a thing. Come go back to bush, no girl, come go back. Come go back to bush, no boy, come go back. Mahogany there for go halampul, mahogany for halaro. Mahogany there for go halampul, mahogany for halaro. Male lombe, lombe, male lombe, lombe. Male lombe, lombe, male lombe, lombe. Patakilasi, kiba yonga, patakilasi, kiba yonga. We have songs of the forest and stories of the forest, okay? Oh yes, yes, yes. That's the Creole forest gardeners. The Creole, not like the not
Other
like
questions?
A Chumash, indigenous Chumash botanist from UCSB told me one time that you could go within 100 miles of where you live, anywhere on the earth, and find the same plants, the plants that would help you with all of your needs.
Exactly.
But they might be different
That's right.
in another place.
That's
So
right.
my question was, do you think this is true? It sounds like it's true.
It's true.
Of course, it's true, but what's happening is we're removing that. And as we're removing, you don't get your jewelry, you miss your thatching, the trees that were for construction. The only thing I might say is Ishkanan is quite prevalent.
Yeah.
But if they start cleaning the roads, they won't be either.
Yeah, well,
It's very true. He's going to say something, but I will tell you, you walk with this man, and if you have a hurt, he finds something. You know,
That's
you
right.
bang your hand, he has something for that.
That's
If
right.
you're swatting a fly, it's hurting you, he has something for that. If you're, like, have a headache, he goes and gets a leaf and puts it on your head, and so I'll let him.
Careful.
careful. In the forest, when I was much younger, we didn't have to go too far to find medicinal plants because they were almost all around. The only problem that was there that many people never knew about them, so they start to get rid of them, and after a while, when they needed it and when they found out that it was important, they were looking for it, so they come to area that they have to ask permission to another person that have the area, control of the area, to get the same plant that they destroyed, and that was not so good because almost everything that's every plant have some beneficial to humanity. Almost every plant have a purpose, but we don't recognize that. If we get more conscious and try to investigate and see and find out the benefit of it, we'll have more plants nowadays than right now. That many plants are disappeared. We had a plant that we used to use for diarrhea. It's not anymore around because people have been using the herbicide to kill the plant, and that plant is not anymore. We might find in certain areas some, but in the past it would be like a whole field of them. And I remember when I was smaller too, in all the parts of my village, you could find a tomato tree, a pepper tree, a custard apple tree. Almost everywhere you go, you find something. But people start to think about making pastures, So pastures, they only want to see grass for the cows. But then they go to other people and bother other people that have the plants. And sometimes they won't ask permission. They just want to go get in there and take it. And that I don't see it right because you have it and you destroy it, and now you want it, and that's not a good thing for us humans to do.
I just wanted to thank Dr. Ford. Sometimes accidentally some things are in our luggage, like a thing called chaya. So we were having a conversation about chaya with the Maya, and Sherman loves peppers. So I just am very excited in this conversation in terms of the universality of plants. Plants don't quarrel with you, they don't talk back to you. So the relationship between us and nature is powerful and a unifying force for us, you know. So I just am enjoying this fellowship that we are having here.
Another provoker.
Well, you mentioned that some of the areas were being cleared for cane and herbicides were being used and forests were being cut down, and yet Pilar and the Mayan forest is being preserved in certain areas. Are you seeing any expansion of efforts to reestablish the forest and bring back more forest gardens?
Wow, that's a good question.
Some people are getting aware, and I have seen more people having a piece of their land and turned into a forest garden. And I'm very glad for that because they are aware of the benefits of it. Because where there is more plants, there is more life. So I encourage people to do the same all over the world if possible. But I have seen many younger folks in my country that are getting into it because they see the benefit. Because I have some friends that visit me sometimes from Belize, and they come to my area and they stand like oh what you have a paradise, they say, you know. See, you live like God, they said. But I'm not, you know. Because there is so much there that you could pick this, pick that, and still I have more, you know. Right now, I have several trees of custard apples that are very, very full. The trees are loaded with this fruit, and animals come and eat. Birds come. If I'm there and the bird will still come, sometimes I have to go like this because birds will fly over me like that. And sometimes I'm cleaning and birds are walking behind me, and I pick up a little insect and give it to them, and they will come and get it in my hand. Wow. So it's beautiful, you know, but people are getting more aware of the benefits of it.
He didn't mention the Kanankash, which is our school garden. So that's one of the areas we think we can propagate.
Right. Thank you. Well, what can you do to support and encourage us? One of the significance of having this conversation here is that fortunately, being one of the wealthiest countries in the world and having institutions that impact on the world, universities have mindsets and paradigms which influence countries like ours. We in the El Pilar initiative are shifting from food security to food sovereignty. And what we mean by that is that people like us, indigenous people, had the secrets long ago, but that is not translated in the education system. So part of the El Pilar initiative, and Dr. Anabel Ford is one of the few scholars that we know of that come to Belize and in the world that pioneer the honoring of indigenous knowledge and practice under the umbrella of different ways of knowing. And we have had exhibitions where we promote widely throughout the country, and I guess here in Santa Barbara as well, about the importance of producing our own food without pesticides and herbicides and whatever sides. Dr. Torres' farm is sandwiched by mechanized farmers crushing this organic way of production with herbicides, pesticides, and whatever sides. So we are inviting you in your scholarly discourse to spread the word and encourage this as a way of learning and a way of being. So his getting this award is not just about getting a medal, which is very important and we appreciate, but translating that into mainstream education. Dr. Ford, myself, we battle all the time in Belize with our own government about this way of educating, which emphasizes cut, hack, what you call it, mowing down, taking the richness of the soil and the plants and throwing it away rather than having it around the trees. So we would like you to have this as a way of learning, where we have it as a part of your curriculum, a part of your conversation. During the time of COVID pandemic, we were able to learn the crisis of food in our country. We import 9 million ramen or more. Ramen, you know the food that is not, anyway, it's not real, it's like paper, right? During that time, we are importing that food, and people like Dr. Torres need to be encouraged so that in schools, you know, the children, the young people, the families will be producing these foods. We go in our community, in Santa Familia, and we ask people whether they are producing the food or we take it for granted, the riches and the wealth that we have untold. So we would say, no, we are not doing it. But you look around and we have all these different plants and trees and so on. So we're asking for that validation and that promotion for food sovereignty, so we will not be importing food from here. That is a politically incorrect statement, but I've said it right.
Can we take one last question? Anyone?
Scott, you could ask the question.
Yeah, here's our fellow collector.
Well, I don't have a question as much as I just wanted to express gratitude that you all are here. And I hope you know that your messages are coming in loud and clear. And the garden here in our education program, we're already working to shift our own paradigm, how we talk about plants. I think historically, when you have a walk, you have an instructor, a teacher that's teaching about plants. But what we're trying to do more is introduce people to the plant teachers and let people discover for themselves by connecting with the plants in a different sort of way, by knowing and understanding and creating a relationship with the plants in the natural world on their own. And I just wanted to say what you all have been sharing today has really been an inspiration to me as the head of a department that's leading the education here at the garden. Your messages are coming in loud and clear, and we're going to be taking that and bringing some of these messages to the students that we work with. So your request is being answered in real time, and we're just so grateful to have this exchange, and we're so honored to have you here. So thank you.
Wonderful.
I wanted to mention that we really think every plant is a recommendation, so we can't say weeds. We have to decide, is that we take that recommendation or not. That's that interaction.
Love that. I'm really glad you said that, Scott, because that's pretty similar to my question. I'm kind of interested in permaculture, which you guys may have heard of. And there's this recommendation that you observe for like 10 times the amount of time you work in permaculture. And I was wondering if you could talk about like how much you observe the forest before you go and do something and work hard.
Yeah, that's really important, the observation. I don't know if we calculate it, but they're always observing.
So,
Well, how do you observe? I will just say, I know he's observing all the time, because he'll say, I don't recognize that seed, and next thing I know, it's growing in his house or his garden. So he's always observing.
whenever whenever I walk in the jungle or in the forest, whenever I walk in the forest, I'm looking this way, looking down.
Hearing.
Yeah, hearing. I've been also observing things that will help in ways that that will preserve plants, because sometimes some plants are being taken over by some other parasites. We call it stronger pigs. So they will hug a tree like this, and eventually they'll kill the tree, and you leave a hollow inside, and only that tree will stay there. So that is an observation that I do, and also observe that there in trees you see many other little vines growing. For example, vanilla and other vines that are essential for making houses, like tying wire almost. So we need all of those, but they don't grow if you don't have a high canopy. You won't have them if you have a pasture. So you need to have a high forest or a secondary forest at least to have all of those materials that are useful, and even at that point you might be having other plants that are growing that are edible plants, and some are medicinal. So I've been observing always in the jungle, because I have to be on the lookout, because sometimes I'm walking in front of everyone. I have to see that there is nothing to poke someone, or no snake to bite someone. It's a lot of observation I have to do.
But I'm going to close with, unless there's something I want to close with, how observant they are. So I know you probably drove up here and you put your blinker on when you turned left, and you noticed someone coming down, one of the streets, and you know what the stop sign is, you know what the lights are, you recognize the lines on the thing. These are the things we're observing, as we drove up here. They're observing things that tell them where water is, how to find a fruit tree, what the evidence of I don't know, other things. Let's see. I remember we were talking about the thick duff. I remember one time walking down with you, and you said, "This looks like a tapir." And sure enough, we got to the bottom. We awoke a tapir, and it, ran with just really a crazy running, and we could have been in danger, I think. But he already had observed, that that there was a sign of tapir, and something that's just looking like a bug is a sign of water, and returning to a site is noticing what was there, so you can find that again. Thinking there's another story. Oh, I went out with a hunter forest gardener, and this guy was really mischievous. And he came. He just had a little. He didn't have a dog. But he did have his. Well, no, he had a shotgun. But he didn't have anything else. Except a little bag. But I had my backpack with my notebook and my water and whatever. We come to a place, and he puts up the hammock. It's like, what? He didn't tell me to bring a hammock. And I says, "Are we hunting?" Now this man, I told you, he was mischievous. He said, "Who's the hunter?" Okay, yeah. You're the hunter. He says, yeah, you said you're hunting with me, I'm the hunter, I'm going hunting. You do whatever you want, but I'm hunting. Gets into the hammock and takes a snooze. I mean, he did it on purpose. He wanted to show me what hunting's about. He just stayed there a while. I was taking notes, looking, trying to observe in other ways. And up comes a little tepesquintly, which is a little gibnut. And he took the butt end of his escopete and just went boom and killed it, just like that. Now, did he call it? You know, that looks, we were talking about magic.
Yeah.
That looked like magic, but he showed me afterwards that there was a hole, and he could recognize when it had left, and he knew its habits. We're talking about observation, and when it would come back. So let's just say it's a half-hour trip, I don't know, I didn't ask him that part, but that's an observation. I remember telling Heriberto, now deceased sadly, but you saw on the film, and he says, oh, that Chencho, he's so lazy. I said, whoa, I don't know if that's lazy. I mean, he's looking at the meat market in a real way. So these are, when you're asking about observation, it's very, very subtle. I think of those, like Chief Joseph was saying that everything, all the white men think this is wild. It was tame until they came.
Anabel, can we close? Can everybody please stand up for our closing with one love? One love, right? One love. One love. One love. One love. Let's get together and feel alright. And some more. One love. One love. Let's get together and feel alright. Thank you. One love.
Well, thank you very much.